So picture this. Once upon a time, Rachel Zegler was supposed to be Disney's next golden girl. Like, literally. She had the look, the voice, the charm. The girl was plucked from obscurity and handed a royal title, Snow White. Not just any role, but the first Disney princess ever. This was the kind of dream gig that turns nobodies into legends. Total Cinderella story. Except, she was playing Snow White. Same fairy tale energy. Disney didn't just give her a part, they gave her a legacy, the crown jewel of their empire. We're talking about a character older than most of our grandparents. And how did they treat it? Like a disposable TikTok trend. They threw money. Oh my God, so much money at this thing. Reports said $250 million went into making the film. That's not even counting the influencer deals, TikTok promo, and literal theater takeovers. It was everywhere. But here's the plot twist nobody saw coming. It bombed. And not just in theaters, this was a full-blown PR catastrophe. Behind the scenes, chaos, total identity crisis. Like no one even knew what kind of movie they were making. Was it magical? Was it feminist? Was it political? Pick a lane, Disney. Scripts were rewritten over and over. Test audiences hated scenes. They had to redo them. Even the poisoned apple, yes, the apple, was redesigned 4 times just to make toy companies happy. 4 times. Are you kidding me? For a hot second, it looked like it might do okay. The preview night brought in $3.5 million, but that was the last gasp of hope. It tanked, fast, and when it hit Disney Plus, it vanished. Like poof, gone. 500 million minutes watched in the first week, they bragged. But guess what? Hardly anyone finished it. People dropped off halfway. No rewatches. Nobody added it to their favorites. This wasn't a movie people loved, it was a hate watch. They clicked to see if it was as bad as the rumors and then dipped. Critics were savage. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 29%. Audiences, 19%. Yikes. One IMDb user straight up said it was cringeworthy. Parents were complaining their kids were bored. One mom said her 6-year-old whispered, "This is boring 45 minutes in." Ouch. That's not something you can spin into a cutesy meme. Now here's where things get real messy. Rachel Zegler, our star. She was everywhere. Press tours, red carpets, interviews. She was supposed to be Disney's poster girl. But instead of applause, those old interviews came crawling back like unwanted receipts. In one, she casually called the 1937 Snow White weird. In another, she roasted the prince as a stalker. Okay, we get it, Gen Z sarcasm, but Disney fans did not. They weren't laughing. They were offended. They saw her as mocking their childhood. And then came the memes. The hashtag #WokeWhite started trending. Every single clip of her press junket was turned into a roast. Suddenly, the internet turned. And it turned hard. So yeah, Rachel Zegler was everywhere. And then, just like that, she was everywhere for the wrong reasons. This was supposed to be her moment, her career-defining role. But instead, she became the face of one of Disney's biggest flops in history. And the worst part? It got personal. It wasn't just about the movie anymore. It was about her. People weren't separating the actress from the role. They came for both. And the more she tried to speak up, the worse it got. She posted, she explained, she opened up. But every time she did, the backlash got louder. In one interview, she finally cracked. She admitted she was struggling, mentally, emotionally, everything. She was honest, raw. She said she felt totally alone, like the noise wouldn't stop. Her exact words, that she was a very mentally ill piece of human trying to keep it together. It was supposed to be a human moment, a real, vulnerable confession. But the internet? Yeah, no mercy. The clip went viral, but not in the way you'd hope. People started mocking her breakdown. Creators were laughing in reaction videos. Influencers were reenacting her sobs like it was comedy skit night. The emotional rawness was chopped, stitched, and meme-ified. Sympathy? It didn't stand a chance because the internet doesn't reward vulnerability, it rewards sarcasm. And Rachel? She became the punchline. Behind the scenes, she was trying to get help. Therapy, anxiety meds. She even told People magazine she just wanted to feel safe walking through the world again. That's how bad it got. But timing? Brutal. Every time she tried to heal, another clip resurfaced. Another wave of hate came crashing in. Another headline dragged her name back into the mud. And you know what made it worse? Disney. Vanished. Like completely ghosted her. They went silent. No more trailers, no more promo, no stand with Rachel moment, no social media posts, nothing. Disney went into full, we don't know her mode. They hit the eject button and dipped. Retailers like Target and Walmart quietly pulled the dolls and toys. Theme parks removed the costumes. There were no reboots, no soundtrack pushes, no second wave of merch. It was like the movie never even happened. The only statement anyone got was from Disney CEO Bob Iger during some dull earnings call. Our job is to entertain, not to advance any kind of agenda. That was it. No mention of Rachel, no support, just one cold corporate shrug. Disney let her hang, alone, in public, in silence. So Rachel, she wasn't officially dropped. She wasn't canceled, but she was stuck. Frozen, like truly frozen out of Hollywood. No new roles, no big projects, no directors calling. Her team, still hustling, still pitching. But the doors, Closed. Industry insiders have a term for it, being on ice. Some call it Hollywood jail. That weird, shadowy space where your name's suddenly missing from casting calls, but no one says why. There's no memo, no blacklist, just silence. Studios get scared. Nobody wants to be first. No one wants to risk casting the girl who's still trending for all the wrong reasons. They're waiting, watching, hoping the internet forgets. But come on, has the internet ever forgotten anything? Rachel's name became heavy, not toxic, not scandalous, just baggage, too much drama, too much meme history, too many viral clips, and so nobody touched her. She was the lead in one of Disney's biggest disasters, and Hollywood just let her sit in limbo. And the comparisons started rolling in. Katherine Heigl after all that behind-the-scenes drama, Shia LaBeouf after his legal mess, Gina Carano after her social media storm, and now Rachel, who didn't lash out, didn't commit a crime, didn't vanish. She just crumbled under a giant, expensive disaster. The sad part? She had the talent. She still does. That voice, that presence, it's all there. But in Hollywood, talent isn't always enough. It's about timing, about perception, about whether your name brings a cheer or a cringe. And right now, Rachel's name brings silence. There was a time when being cast as a Disney princess meant your career exploded. In a good way. Magazine covers, late-night interviews, new roles left and right. That crown, it used to mean something. For Rachel, it became a weight. She wore it, and then everything collapsed. Now she's caught in this strange place. Not quite failed. But no one's inviting her back either. She's not scandalous enough to be canceled. But she's got this cloud hanging over her, and no studio wants to gamble on that. So now, Rachel's team, they're pushing for a total reset. A do-over, no big franchises, no billion-dollar pressure, just something, anything that lets her show up without all the noise. They're pitching gritty indies, low-budget passion projects, maybe even a streaming series or some voice work in animation, just to get her name back on something quietly. But here's the thing, without a strong comeback narrative, nobody's jumping in. No one's rushing to write the redemption arc. Everyone's waiting for someone else to take that leap. And until that happens, she's stuck, floating in career limbo. Even her social media has changed. Gone are the glam photos, the promo posts, the glossy red carpet looks. It's quieter now, more real, but that comes with its own risk. Every word, every post, every video, watched like a hawk. One wrong joke, one awkward sentence, and it's clipped, edited, and memed within hours. The internet's just waiting to pounce. Meanwhile, the damage behind the scenes? Massive. Disney took a hit, not just in money, but in reputation. The Snow White disaster forced them to rethink their whole strategy. Some projects got restructured. Others canceled, quietly, like wiped from the board. And while Rachel wasn't the only reason things blew up, she was the easiest face to blame. That's how it goes. Nobody remembers the producers, or the executives, or the script rewrites. They remember the face on the poster, the one doing all the interviews, the one who smiled through the chaos. And that was Rachel. She didn't ask to be the symbol, but she became it anyway. In the darker corners of the internet, some fans still hold on. They post her old audition tapes, her West Side Story clips, her raw, powerful vocals, the reminders of why she got cast in the first place. But the wider public, they've moved on. They're quiet. And that silence, it's deafening. Worse than hate, it means indifference. And in Hollywood, indifference is the kiss of death. Still, comebacks happen. We've seen it. People come back from worse, but there's always a spark, a twist, a surprise casting, a viral moment that flips the story. Rachel needs that. Not PR, not spin, something real, something that makes people remember what made her special. Because no matter what's happened, despite the memes, the hate, the collapse, she still got it. The voice, the presence, the heart, the talent, that was never the problem. The real question is, does anyone want to give her a second shot? Will the same machine that built her overnight have the guts to rebuild her again? Or has Hollywood already closed that book? Because when you're the face of a flop, the ending is never yours to write. Rachel Zegler wore the crown. She gave everything. But when the fairy tale shattered, she was left to pick up the pieces, alone. Maybe someone gives her another chance. Maybe she makes one for herself. Or maybe, just maybe, her story becomes one of those whispered Hollywood tales. Not with a dramatic crash, but with a quiet fade. A forgotten princess in a forgotten chapter.